stand on these two principles?
Before we start, Biruri is...
What?
Biruri. The word Biruri is purification.
Mm-hmm.
So
Clarification.
Clarification?
Depends on, yeah.
Because we translated it this morning as effect.
What?
Effect. Effect.
Effect?
Yeah. It was said this morning. I wrote it down today and I was appalled because...
No, that wasn't the translation of the word "view." It may be used for some other implication. So here, put on that one, and let's switch this one off. No, just the switch.
Yeah.
Okay. Since we have a little bit of a loose crowd and we are in the midst of a very, no, put this one off. It's too noisy we can't hear. We have to somehow relate to number one, the most difficult of it all, is the principle of axioms, etzem. Etzem ho'in. And before we even go any further, I said we have to relate. There is no way that it can be understood, because there is nothing to grasp, there's nothing to describe in etzem. We have to relate to the principle, to the concept, somewhere. And then the union of tshuva, and the union of Torah, and the union from Birurim, Vare Birurim. So first, here from etzem, which, as I pointed out this morning, that we had a pretty clear inference or reference to the here from etzem. We said that the idea from etzem, in terms of how we relate to it, is by the recognition that there is such a thing as the truth. Perhaps using the same terminology, we will say that there are three distinct levels. There is truth, or maybe four, the truth, and that such a thing as the truth exists. This is not the truth. The truth exists. True, we all can readily understand what true is. True is a relative term. True is a term that is saying true and not true. In other words, it's a contrast. So true relates to very finite entities. Is A, this is A and not B. That's true. A and not B. That's true. Truth is at a different level already. Truth is on a more fundamental, more essential level. True is, as I said, is relative and is by choice. Truth is not by choice. To capture the idea of truth, I'm sure that everybody has experienced it and they use it all the time. Truth does not, there's no object that you are saying this is true or not true. It is inherently true. That's called truth. Perhaps this will give us a little bit of a demonstration of the concept. There is point A, there is point B. And the way to connect point A and point B could be multiple different ways. It could be a straight way, convoluted way. Every way, if it leads to point B from point A, it is true. We get instructions how to go from point A to point B. It could be the best way, could be the worst way. But if it leads you to the target, then it's a true way. You can have a path that leads you to the target, then it's true. You can have a path that does not lead you to the target, then it is false. Then it's not true. But if I say that there are 2 points, there's point A and point B. This principle that there are 2 points, point A and point B, and you're not speaking in terms of how to get from one to the other. You're simply making a statement. There are 2 points, A and B. Not that there are 2 points. You're saying in the world there are 2 points. Point A and point B. Whether you can get from one to the other is a separate issue. But there are 2 points. That you could say in the world, it says this is a truth. Yes, the world consists, the world has a lot of land, a lot of space, a lot of area, a lot of locations. So it's a truth to say that there are many points, multiple points. Not speaking in terms of connecting, you're talking on that, for instance, we say that a human being invented and developed a car in order to be able to travel among the various points in the world. Now, what do you need to travel from many points in the world? You're here. What do you need to be over there? That doesn't come into the question. There is a human truth that you say to enable you to go to point B is a human truth. That's called the truth. When the car was developed, there was not a plan that this car is going to be used to travel between Brooklyn and Manhattan. There was no such creature. Was this car made to travel, can you travel from Brooklyn to Manhattan? Of course you can. It's true, but it's not the truth of the car. That's not what the car stands for. It does stand to be able to travel from any point to this point. They have traveled from Brooklyn to Manhattan, so it has an element of truth because it's two different points. This is called truth. If it were not for the purpose of connecting any of 2 points, you would not have a car to travel between Brooklyn and Manhattan. So the journey between Brooklyn and Manhattan was facilitated by the thought of travel altogether.
The idea that there's A and B that would, as you originally introduced it, is that a different, what did you want to bring in now with the added part about the car? That there's A and B, this is a truth also, point A and point B.
No, point A and point B is a relative. It happens to be. The point is that there are multiple points. There are many points in the world. So that travel is a reality. Travel in the world existed from day one. Literally, from day one. Cain and Hevel. Cain and Hevel, it says in the Torah, they took a walk in the field. They traveled from one point to another. Cain enticed Hevel to walk with him into the field so that he would be away from where Adam was stationed, so he can do his little thing. So that is because there's many different locations. There are so many locations that Cain envisioned him hiding from God. And God wouldn't know what he did with his brother Hevel. when you come to me here, I mean, I don't know what happened over there.
I didn't do nothing.
Huh?
I didn't do nothing.
Didn't do nothing, right? Just illustrating that there is truth means there is no such thing. You cannot have a world without multiple points. Okay, that's a world. So here he's saying this truth does not have a specific subject that you are identifying. One versus the other. Yet, in real truth, this is not really, this is also only true, not really truth. Because this truth is true in a world. That which is higher than world does not necessarily have multiple points. So this is a truth, a worldly truth. Like for example, we say, to express an idea, it takes many words. And it takes time, a lot of time. But to think of the idea, you can say we can have it in one spark, a fleeting spark, where you say, hey, hardly takes up any room. Okay. So now, okay, then we say there is what's called the truth. That truth, this is an all-encompassing truth. So this is not a relative truth, it's a universal. For example, now we're coming to real stuff, okay? Here we have to really try to understand. This which the Rambam says, that there's a Motzui Rishon, we know there's a Motzui Rishon Mamsik on this. There's a first being that brings forth all beings. Now, this awareness that is a first being that brings forth all beings, we are aware of it. It comes to us by virtue of this being manifesting itself. There's a reality to be. So this is not just the truth. This is the truth of all our thinking. What's behind our thinking, like we said, we say that there is unity in things. There's unity. 1 and 1 is 2, not 1 and 1 is 1 and 1. Because we realize that from one source. This unity is something which is manifest, which is an applied unity. This is what we call that truth. This is the fundamental truth of all existence.
that truth, how do we relate it to the truth of the world that has many points? And we say that there's a truth. The worldly truth is that there are many points in the world. That's a worldly truth?
Yeah. That's part of the definition of world.
So now we say that the truth is that there's from one being comes everything.
The truth, right. The truth is that there's one source for everything.
Do those relate then? Is one
Yes, they're related. I'll explain to you how they're related. There are multiple points. There's Europe, there's America. Europe and America are far apart, thousands of miles apart. So, and we are saying Europe is not America. What's the point? What's the point? Europe is not America. There are two different, separate continents. I'll give you a little bit of an insight to what I'm saying here. There are birds and there are animals. Then you say, birds are not animals, or animals are not birds. You're talking about two very different presences. In what way are they related that you should have to make a contrast between them? The reason that you're making a contrast, you say Europe is not America, is, if you think about these words, you will see. The reason you're saying Europe is not America is because it is only on a superficial level that Europe is not America. But really, it's all the same earth. It's really, in reality, it's the same thing.
So why don't we make that the worldly truth, that it's all one entity?
Because on the worldly level, this there is one entity is representing its source, was created as one entity, a world, didn't develop individually. But when we say Europe is not America, in reality, we're not talking about the physical continent. We're talking about the way Europe developed. Its culture and American culture is different. So we're talking about something which is very relative within the worldly context itself. So we're going in these circles in order to bring to the ultimate point. We should understand the following. Who is there?
It's Daniel making a noise.
No, there's somebody over there.
Oh, really?
Steve?
Hi.
Hey.
I'm sorry to yell, I just got from work. Can I borrow one from somebody?
Yeah, I'll give you. You have your own here?
Thanks.
That's even better.
Thank you. Thanks. Sorry to interrupt like this, though.
Okay? Now, there's a different, totally different perception. There's different perception. Is coming to the terminology that we use is that there is a truth. That such thing as truth exists. What's the significance of that? When you say, like we said over here, at the highest level, you said Europe is not America. And then we found that Europe and America actually do relate. The very principle that we have two continents, and because we have two continents, we apply different terms, names to each one. This is Europe and this is America. Now, what is the significance of this name? You could say the significance of this name is only for reference points, for reference point purposes. So that you'll be able to answer, where do you live? I live in Europe. Where do you live in America? But then, if you think a little bit deeper, you will say, this is not just a reference point. What then is it if it's not a reference point? There are two ways that we can relate to everything that we observe, Europe, America, whatever it is. One way is that Europe became Europe only when I identified with it. I came there, therefore I have a place and I can refer to it as Europe. Prior to that, it was an insignificant piece of land, which means it was not meant for population. It was not meant for the big. Human beings decided to inhabit it. But in its own essential, from its own social perspective, it does not have a name, so to speak. It does not stand for anything. For example, the fish do not identify Europe because the fish don't need the land to live on. Or else you can say, no. that since that there is a first being and everything comes from the first being, everything that exists has an intended purpose.
Intended?
Purpose. So that the fact that you have Europe and America, these are two continents created by this first being with the intent that they should be two separate, different continents. Now, let's now project a little bit our own thinking. What would make us say this? What would make us say that no, there is intent, there is a meaning to the fact that there are two continents? Why can't we just go by the manner in which it was discovered? For example, accidentally, how was America discovered? Nobody was looking for it, right?
What, some men went to look for it.
No,
They were looking for something.
they were looking for another
China.
route to Europe.
Wanted to get to China.
They're not looking for America. They have no idea that there is such a continent as America. They were looking for a shorter route to China, to Asia. What makes us say no? This has a name. This is not just another continent. This is America. This is Europe. This is Asia. This is Africa. Although they're very similar. It's another piece of land, another piece of land, another piece of land. Climate-wise, they're different, but that's not significant. What is it?
Why do we say they're different?
It is because we realize that there is a truth. For example, I'll explain to you how that manifests itself. You come into this house, and there is a couch, and there's an easy chair over there, and an easy chair over there. Would you say that this easy chair and this easy chair and the couch are in these places because the delivery people, when they deliver them, put them down over there? Or would you say that their respective places represent the choice of the person who lives in here? Which one?
The design of the dweller.
This principle that there is somebody living here, please think about it. It could very well have been put down by delivery people, as far as the physical item itself. There is no tangible manifestation of the presence of a dweller. As a matter of fact, let's take this a little bit more to reality. It's conceivable that the couch ended up over here because actually, where else are you going to put the couch? The chair, but where else are you going to put the chair? It's the most logical place to put it. Yet we, for whatever reason the couch was put where it is, we will attribute it, we'll see the human element, the reality element behind it. And we will not come into this house, to anyone's house, and say, hey, you know, there's a more convenient place for the couch. Put it over there. Nobody in his right mind is going to do that. Right? Now this fundamental reality, this is in reality, this is what permeates entire existence. Now, it's not the human psyche, human way of thinking of things and be preoccupation with his own welfare, with his own comfort, makes him oblivious to this. The Torah is what brings the awareness of this reality into the world. And the Torah says it makes a tremendous difference how you behave. And know to what extent? To the most minute detail. How you tie your shoe. Which shoe you tie first, which shoe you tie second. Which shoe you put on first, which shoe you put on second. This reality, this ultimate reality, does not have multiplicity. It likes this over here and this over here. There's one reality, and which says that everything has a significance. That's essentially what it is. For example, I mentioned I put on the right shoe, the shoe, the right foot, the left foot. Now we actually say we apply a logical, reasoning why you put on the right foot first, because the right foot has to be respected. Right is superior to the left. When it comes to tying up, the left takes precedent. So it's all reason, logical. True, it's all logical. But this logic comes to bear only if there is a reality. If there is no reality, then the logic is totally out of whack. Just create anything you want. It isn't the logic that creates it. The principle is that there is significance to everything. Then you can apply logic to identify specific ways of bringing God certain principles.
Bringing God into certain circumstances?
To bring out the truth in a certain circumstance. But you're bringing out the very same truth in everything, whether it's tying your shoes or it's standing Shemoneh.
Once you establish that there's one source, and from him he imparted significance to everything.
Yes, you put it this way. Yes, the way we put it is there's a truth. There's absolute truth. And therefore, whatever was imparted has an element that comes from this truth, represents it. Without this truth, nothing exists. For example, okay, the whole world is going wild with the philosophical questions. What is a wall?
What is a wall?
Yeah. Layers of bricks one on top of the other. Now, if not for human use of a wall to demarcate an area and to cordon it off from other areas, is a wall or it's a heap of stone? Or even less than that. Individual stones. In other words, she says to me, there has to be the sense that there is value, there's reality. Then you can identify what this reality is about. We always bring out this is the many different levels, but essentially all intellectual perceptions are based on this. Just like we said about the setting up of the couch and the easy chairs, we say all the time, you're going to a simcha, you're going to a chassid, and you say, what is this about? What makes you say what is about? It's about people sitting around tables and eating chalot or eating dessert. Right? But the first thing, I mean, this is the difference between a human being, an intellectual person, or an idiot. An idiot doesn't have that question at all. That's precisely the definition of an idiot. Who doesn't perceive the intangible. The intangible is that which is presented to us by our intellect, which is presented to the intellect by our soul, like we're learning here. But it's presented to the soul by its creator. and it remains both. It remains intangible and inaccessible to the idiot, no matter how clear it is to the human being, to the intellectual. The intellectual cannot possibly ignore it, and the idiot cannot possibly see it. It's an amazing thing. To the intellectual, this is infinitely more significant, more real than all tangible things in the world. To the idiot, it doesn't exist. Why is it so significant to the human being? Because the human being directly relates to this. There has to be significance, has to be truth in this. That is what he lives with. This is what we said many times. This is more characteristic of the human being than anything else.
This was Adam's first act.
Yeah. This is let's not lose track, okay?
Okay.
This is the most significant element in the human being. This is most characteristic, like people are going out wild. Well, animals are smart, and this is smart. This is the point. Human smart is a completely different concept. It's not smart in sorting things out and putting things in relative proportion. It is recognizing a truth that is not a presence, a worldly presence. Not only recognizing it, but relating to it. And insisting that that is what the world is all about. Okay, now that we have this, now think of the following. A human being who is essentially a healthy human being and has got all human insights. But in the process of life, under the challenges of making a living, for example, he went to earn a livelihood to means and methods that are denying these principles. Let's say, an extreme case, he sells drugs. Makes a living. He's making a living. What he wants to do. Or better still, he manufactures drugs. Or all kinds of different illicit, lowly. He makes a living. I'm trying to pay my bills. I'm trying to support my family. And in this process, he lost sense, contact, awareness of his truly human identity. Okay, it's generous and so forth. Now, but we said that this principle, this is also characteristic of the human being. This is what a human being is. This is what he considers reality. Without that, there's no reality. At some point in time, this quote-unquote successful businessman somehow is reminded that he's a human being. Whatever reminds him. But the minute he's reminded, he says, whatever happened? I want to be human all over again.
This person who went astray, it was he lost his own significance, or he didn't see that there was no significance to what he was doing, or both. Are they one and the same?
Significance in what he is doing, nobody claims a significance in what he is doing. Significance is making money. What's significant? Nobody makes money because it's significant.
So he lost focus of his own significance.
He lost, yeah. He gave up. Slowly, the pressures of the day or whatever it is. Friends doing, however that happened. But his personal human sense of value was drowned out under the circumstances of immediate pressure.
Okay, so now he realizes that.
Now something struck him and woke him up, and he says, you know, but I'm a human being. Where's my human life? I'm not alive as a human being. And I want to regain that life. So how long does it take for him to make that statement?
It's in fact, it's not. It's a statement that comes out and then it gets covered over. It doesn't.
It's a question whether he can maintain the path, but to make that turn takes no time.
That would show how his own significance at that point becomes immediately available to him.
His own recognition of the significance of the world, of reality, is instantaneous. Not only recognition, but dedication and connection. Tzvi, can you get Tzvi back into the significant world?
Two, no?
Huh?
You need two.
It's 10 o'clock already.
It's 10?
Took an hour to represent this instantaneous point.
Can I ask a question?
Huh?
I have a question.
You have a question?
Yeah, to ask you. Is there such a thing, and excuse my ignorance in the question, but is there such a thing along the lines that you're speaking in Judaism as to waiting on God? Let's say, you have ideas or something, but your subjective sense is you don't have enough information yet or something to make a decision. Is there such a thing, just waiting to see which way you'll be drawn?
I don't know what you mean, is there such a thing? I mean, it takes all of us time to identify, to clarify our own thoughts, what we understand, what we don't understand. It's a lifetime process,
Okay.
and then some.